Hey guys, welcome back to a new video, and before anything I want to thank you all for supporting me. We just hit 1000 subscribers on my channel. It's been a year now and I want to thank you all for supporting me, and I hope we reach more and more in this channel. Okay, so in this video we're gonna implement the address fragment to add an address or delete an existing address. So let's actually do that. And the first thing you would do is inside your REST file, inside the layout file here, create a new fragment. Call this fragment address, and in here we actually wanna add the design. So for that I've already prepared that for you. So all you wanna do is download the link from my description, and then you need to copy and paste. So here it is. Copy all of this and paste it in here. Then click on Ctrl Alt and L to rearrange that. And here is the design. Now let's go and create a class for that. And let's call this address fragment. Extend from fragment. And let's set a binding. And we inflate this past the inflator. Okay, now let's create a view model for this fragment. And in here, we need to extend it from view model, and we need to inject, we need the Firestore. We make this private val. Import this, and we don't want to forget to annotate the health view model annotation. Now inside here, let's actually create a function to add the address. So function add address. In here we want to get an address, and that's why we need to create that now. So inside the data package, let's create that and call this address. This will be a data class. So what we want to have in this address, first we want to have the address title, and this is a string. We also want the full name, and we want the street, the city, the phone number. And here I will just make the string because the phone number might have like this 0 at the beginning, and we can do that with integers. Now we want the city and the state. Then this will be a personalized one because this will be moving between our fragments. So make sure to annotate it with personalize. And you also need to extend from parsable. One more thing is the empty constructor, so let's have that. And here we just pass empty values. Okay, that's it for this class. Let's get back here and import that. Import this one from our project. And here, let's actually save the address. Now for the address, we want to create a new collection for each user document, just as we did with the cart collection. So what we can do here is firestore.user or .collection. Here we pass the user collection. Then we want to access the user document. So let's actually get an instance from our authentication service. Make this private val. And we wanna go to the user document. Here we pass the user UID. And now we create a new collection, call this address. Then we create a document for that address. And we set our data, which is the address object. Now we can just call set or add on success listener and add on failure listener. But now let's actually have our state here. Let's say val or private val add new address, and this is immutable state flow, so we'll pass the address, and initially we can just pass our address with its empty constructor. Now in here we can expose this. We can get that as state flow. But one thing we have not done actually, and we should do, is to validate the input. So let's actually create that. Let's actually do this. Let's say val our inputs correct or validate input. And here we can say validate input. Let's create that function, which is gonna return a boolean. And here we actually need also to send the address to validate that. So here we want to make sure that all of our edit texts are not empty, so we can return address dot address title dot is not empty, and or we can first trim that, and address dot city dot trim dot is not empty, and we keep going like that with the other fields. Then inside here, if validate inputs is true, then we want to actually add a new address. But here we also want to emit the loading case inside our state. So let's launch a new ViewModel scope.launch. We emit that. By the way, here's gonna be a resource.unspecified, and for the generics resource, we're going to send the address. Okay, now inside the success listener, we can emit our address. So let's launch a ViewModel scope, and we can say add a new address, emit. We can just emit success and send the address. And in here we can actually send the error. So let's do that. Just gonna change this to error and send the message. Okay, so if the validate inputs are not true, then we actually want to have another state, but this time a shared flow, because we want to trigger it once. So private val, let's call this error for example, and this immutable shared flow. Here we can send a string, and we can expose this. Then inside the else block, let's launch ViewModel scope, and we can send, or we can emit any message in here. All fields are required. That's it for now. We're not done with this ViewModel, but that's it for now. Let's go back to our fragment, and inside here, let's actually get an instance of our ViewModel. So val ViewModel by ViewModels, this one, and we want to get the address of ViewModel. Now inside the on view created, we can set the click listener on our add button, binding.button save.set on click listener. In here we want to create our address object, then call the function to add the new address from our ViewModel. So let's actually create our object, address title, or we can just make binding.apply. I don't wanna, let me just do this and take this inside here, Then we can say address title equals to ed address title dot text dot toString. We want the full name, the street, the phone, and the city, and the state. And now we can create the object, new address. We pass this data, so we have, and we can choose this. And now simply we can call ViewModel.addAddress. We can send our address. Now let's observe our state. So we can say lifecycle scope dot launch when started, or another way, instead of calling this inside the onView created, which we have been doing all the time, to make things clearer, we can actually call it inside the onCreate callback. So we can say lifecycle scope dot launch when started, and here we can collect our state. So ViewModel dot add new address dot collect latest when it's resource dot loading. We'll do this. Forgot to add the when block, and when it's success, error, else do nothing. So when we're loading, we want to show the progress bar. So binding dot progress bar address dot visibility equals to view visible. We want to hide it here, so invisible. In our case here, we actually want to navigate back to the previous fragment. So we can say find nav controller dot navigate up, and here we can make a toast. We can get required context. We can show our error. Now we also have another state to collect, which is the error state. So lifecycle scope dot launch when started, and we want to collect the error shared flow. And here we can copy this, and we want to show it. That's it for this fragment, at least for now. We want to do more things with this one, but not in this video. Now to test this fragment, we can go to our navigation graph, the shopping graph, and inside here we can add that fragment. Okay, drag it here, and let's actually add the preview for that one, and add the layout for that, and this is for the address fragment. We're gonna have a link between the profile fragment and the address fragment. Okay, now let's actually make this the home fragment so we can start the app from there and demonstrate that everything works. Let's launch the app and let's open Firestore. Okay, I have got an error, and it's probably because we have not added the Android interpoint annotation for Dagger Hilt. Now let's launch the app again, and as you can see, we started from the address fragment. Now let's add the new address. Let's say home, full name, street. So I'll add any fake data in here, phone, and city, then the state, and I will click on save. Now let's go to Firestore to see if that was added. Make sure you are inside the user collection, then go to the user that you logged in. In my case, I'm logged in with this user, and as you can see, here's the address collection. Click on that, you can find our address saved. And the cart product here is empty. If you are wondering why I don't have that in here, it's just empty because I deleted it before this video. So let's try to add a new address because we have not actually seen the progress bar. So I'm gonna just change one thing in here. Let's make this job I'm gonna hide the keyboard and click on save. As you can see, here's the progress bar. Okay guys, so that was all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day and catch you in the next one.